they've got one over on Manchester City as well.
Yeah, and the thing is that you almost feel that, I don't know, Dan, I felt like he would have went to City because I feel he's got his plan to play in the Qatar World Cup, because I think that's going to be maybe his final opportunity to try and put that marker down that I am the best in the world by trying to win the World Cup. So he needed a club that's going to help him to get there and play consistently and at a level that he can go there and challenge. And so when it was a City, I was thinking, oh my gosh, he's going to City. Mm. And then we saw how the Man United fans felt about him when that was in the press for a bit. But then, all of a sudden when it switched to Man United, I thought, it wasn't romantic. I don't think it's something that, if he's available and he could come back, and this is why probably Sir Alex had to intervene and probably made a call to the Glazers and say, we can't let him go there. We have to make him come here. If he's coming anywhere, he's got to come back here. There's no way I don't feel that doesn't happen, because he will help Man United. He'll take them to another level. We can still talk about the midfielder, what they need, but if Ronaldo is available, you have to take him if you can afford it. Mm.
And those decisions that Ronaldo has had to make, like you said, potentially with that World Cup in Qatar, when he'll be nearly 38, and you're starting to think, even for somebody who keeps themselves in the shape that Cristiano Ronaldo is, you're starting to think, OK, well, even he, at nearly 38, is coming towards the end of his career.
Yeah, but look at Roger Miller.
Career.
Look how great Roger Miller was. You know, Roger Miller, you know what I mean? He hasn't done what Cristiano Ronaldo's done, but Roger Miller was unmarkable in some of those games.
And he was nearly as old as me.
Cristiano Ronaldo just wants to be the next Roger Miller. I think that's all anybody can say about it. But look, this is huge for Manchester United. Not only have they brought in, as you said, one of the biggest names on the planet, they've also brought in a serial winner. And that's been the next step for Manchester United for a while. Have they, do you think, not bought silverware, but certainly taken a big step towards that?
Well, they've bought a born winner. And maybe they was lacking that, I think, before. There's not many other players in that Manchester United squad that know what it takes to consistently, you know, day in, day out, week in, week out, prepare your team, prepare yourself to win. And it's a long haul over the season to win a cup or win the championship or whatever it is. He's done it multiple times. He knows what it takes. And for everyone else around him, they're just going to learn every day from him about, you know, the way he goes about his business. You know, you can see he's one of those people that wants to win every five-a-side in every single training session. He just wants to win. And I think that the players that Manchester United have got, maybe they was lacking that little cutting edge, you know, before. And, you know, I'm sure he'll come in and you know, look at the players they've got, the Sancho, Rashford, even Pogba, you know, Fred, everybody, Greenwood. Like, what, for him to train with Ronaldo day in, day out and see what he's done and to still be at the top of his game at 36, it's just a plus for everyone in that squad.
Sorry, Dan, I was going to say, I think that what it's actually done is ramped up the pressure on Ollie to actually win something. He's got somebody who is a serial winner who wants to win something. If he can't win something with Ronaldo, you know, the questions are going to have to be asked.
Well, he was signed by Juventus to take them closer to winning the Champions League, and that didn't happen. In fact, they didn't perform particularly well in the Champions League, Juventus, with Ronaldo.
It's a really good point. I think that's why it's quite significant that United have brought Varane in, because they've got to improve that defence if Ronaldo's signing is going to mean anything. And if they've got that platform to build on, then he'll win them the games. He's still in terrific form. And in a way, the last week or so has been terrific for Ronaldo as a brand anyway. But the circumstances around the Republic of Ireland game kind of vindicate him. And I think United would be delighted by it, because lots of people who felt he's a busted flush, they'll have been saying, see, I told you so. And then the last 10 minutes, he scores those two decisive goals and he reminds you of what he is all about. And when he had those goals in it, they reminded me of when he played against Wales.
Yeah, thanks.
Semi-final.
He's unstoppable. That's the point, isn't it? There's nothing anyone can do.
I'm so sorry.
Remind me of that.
But when he played against Wales and he got up and he almost hung in the air and headed the ball in, he still has that ability to do that. And I don't think his age is going to stop him from doing that, being in the right place at the right time. You look how he was scampering about, and not just ahead of Kelly, the movement for the goals as well, to create the space to head those goals in. I still think he'll score probably 15, 20 goals this season.
But it is true that he's a different player from the one who was at Manchester United last time round. He has changed his game.
He has changed his game. But like the way he's changed his game, and because he's so sharp upstairs with the finishing, and because he's technically still sound. He's now in an area where he hasn't got to exert himself too much, apart from the fact that use his natural ability, like Darren rightly said, to spring and score those goals. So if you are able to get the ball in and around him with his feet, with his quick feet, with his technical ability, with his heading ability, he's still going to do what he probably done back then, because he hasn't lost that sharpness upstairs to get himself to half a yard, and he only needs half a yard.
I was looking at his stats, right? In only 5 of his 20 seasons has he scored fewer than 20 goals. And you talk about the 29 goals he scored last season, 31 goals the season before that, and 21 goals the season before that. So, and that's in the league, not in the Champions League or the Italian Cup. They're all in the league. He is a consistency is what he lives by, and so he will be looking to score goals. And I think if you're going to buy Kane as a penalty box player for City, for example, you could see why you would want to buy Ronaldo as a penalty box player. Let everyone else do the running outside. We used to talk about Teddy Sheringham, didn't we, having that clock in his head and everyone else do that running for him. He is Teddy Sheringham Mark 2, 3, 4, 5, because he's much fitter, stronger and far more consistent.
Will that happen for him at Manchester United, though?
So, listen, the guys can answer that one, because
you know, it's going to be interesting because you want to find. I think that if they're creating chances, he will score them. You know, the only thing is he going to start him? He's not going to do that. You know, coming off the bench. Ronaldo's not a come off the bench guy. Probably for the first game to give him the rapturous applause, he'd probably do that. But he's got to be playing, and it's going to be interesting to see where he plays, who's coming out of the team, who's sacrificed for him, because. You know, where's Pogba going to play? Him and Bruno Fernandes, I've not seen it when they've played for Portugal, where I'm seeing, wow, that link-up looks amazing. So you're thinking, well, how's that going to work there? How's that going to affect Mason Greenwood, who's like just about to turn supernova? You know what I mean? You feel like, well, what's going to happen? Obviously, somebody's going to have to miss out somewhere along the line. It's going to be interesting to see who that's going to be.
Let's look at their starting lineup against Wolves. And it features Dan James, who's gone on to Leeds United. So obviously he won't be available for Manchester United. But when you look at the shape of what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to do, where does Cristiano Ronaldo fit in, do you think?
I'd probably, because Daniel James, I'd probably move Mason Greenwood out there, put Cristiano Ronaldo where Mason Greenwood is.
Is it that straightforward, do you think?
Well, it feels like, you know, or jadon Sancho, he could play anywhere, because I'm not leaving Pogba out of that team. You know, I've read somewhere people saying, oh, Pogba might be the one. I'm thinking, why? You know, but like the fact is, you look at Daniel James, it seems like there's a natural space now for Greenwood, who, even if he's not going to play out the front right now, Darren, it's something that I think he'd be better coming off the wing anyway, and Ronaldo could be in and around there. And if him and Greenwood can change around, then he might find himself out there, Greenwood in there, and he'll just float in that kind of area in there.
And if you look, like, Greenwood did a lot of good work against Wolves in that wide position anyway. So he can do that. It's not a problem. I think that Ronaldo now, as you touched on before, is definitely going to be in the centre of the pitch. I don't think he's going to be wasting his energy. He's changed that. You know, we've seen some clips of him before at the top of the show. I don't think we're going to be seeing those tricks. But I still feel that he's one of the best. And you know, being a centre half, if someone can move over, 2 or 3 yards faster than you, more mentally, you can't do anything about it, because you're always reacting, and he's always on the move. And that burst and the finish, he's still got that. So if they can supply him with some ammunition, he's going to score goals.
When you're defending against him, do you try to defend him, or do you try to cut off the supply line to him?
Well, obviously I didn't do it very well, as you
I'm not rubbing it in.
So I played against him once, and it was a strange game, bizarre, because for me it was a massive game. It's Cristiano Ronaldo. And I actually found the entirety of the game not taxing, not difficult. There was no, I played more difficult championship games where the striker's always taken to the channel. But when he needed to move, he was moving, and you knew, and he'd almost lure you into like being a bit more relaxed, and then he's gone straight away. So he didn't waste any of his energy at all. And I think that's why he's been able to keep such a high level for so long, because he doesn't. It'd be interesting to see his running stats. I'm sure he doesn't, run that much, but when he does move, he moves so fast.
Yeah, it's interesting. And when you watch him, it looks as though he's standing still for large parts of the game and just kind of strolling around. And then, as you said, he's got that touch paper.
It's like what Ashley's saying there. in the box, like what we saw for Ireland, and people saying, yeah, well, it's Ireland. It's got nothing to do with that, because where the ball came in, he manoeuvred himself to where the ball's going to be. And the movement, you don't lose that sharp movement. No. Like even at 36, 30, you know what I mean? 30, whatever, it's 36 now, right?
37 in February.
37 in February. You don't lose that as long as you've got the service. If you've got the service, it's as if he's 25, because what he'll be able to do in there, because of the experience, the movement, you won't be able to stop him. And because he's a hybrid in respect of the way that he's kept himself fit up to this point, he still looks sharp. I think he had some real unbelievable running stats in the Euros, how quick he was at his age. You're looking at somebody that is defying logic in what he's doing at the moment. So Man United, like I say, they have got somebody who is just not a romantic signing. It's somebody who's going to bring something.
That's such a crucial point as well, because last year we saw Bale go back to Spurs and there was all the triumphalism around him, and ultimately it was disappointing. We've seen other players go back to their clubs with varying degrees of success. Thierry Henry was okay when he went back to Arsenal, Drogba, Chelsea as well. But I think this is on a different level altogether, because he arrives as a winner and relatively speaking, still at the top of his game. He's still a guy that if you're going to lose a title, you're not going to lose it on goal difference, because he knows where the goal is. And I think there was a moment at the Euros that kind of sums up what he's about, where he took that bottle of fizzy pop as he sat down for the press conference. He took it out of the way and he put water there, because that's the way he lives his life. So he's a wonderful example to younger players as well. And I think that he makes the race for the Golden Boot very different to the race it would have been beforehand, because I think that looking at some of the defending in the first couple of games of the Premier League season, I think Ronaldo gets easily 15 goals plus this season, with his movement, with his desire, with his ability to draw defenders out of position, and he will demand the ball. I mean, Martin Samuel in the Daily Mail basically said, where do you play Ronaldo? You play him where he's most happy, because when he's happy, he scores goals. And it seems fairly simple to say, but Solskjaer played with him. So Solskjaer will know how to keep him happy, and that's another reason why I think he'll really enjoy himself this season.
You mentioned that example of during the Euros where he moved a fizzy drink out the way in order to kind of say, no, kids, drink water, and that sort of leading by example. You touched on this earlier, the effect that he can have within the dressing room and at the training ground, when particularly there's young players. And I know you asked the question earlier, and we'll come on to the sort of footballing consequences for Mason Greenwood. Just in terms of lifestyle, application, dedication, all those things that he's bringing to everyday work at Old Trafford. Yeah,
well, I think, well, listen, you can have a veteran player who isn't Cristiano Ronaldo, who tells a young lad, don't do that, do this, and they're kind of thinking, well, who are you to tell me that? This guy says something, you're going to do it, because there's no argument about it. He says, don't do that. I do this. This is how I work. I wouldn't do that. Look after your body. Don't move on Thursdays and Fridays, or whatever his routines are. The boys, even if he's not saying it, they'll be watching him. Yeah. They'll be watching and they'll be learning. Subconsciously, they'll be picking up, okay, he does that. He does this. He doesn't do that. He doesn't mess around in these kind of times. So, just that whole element of it. And as I said before, I think if there's a criticism for me of Manchester United and the talent that they've got, is they kind of just it didn't seem serious enough for them. They had good young players, and it was something was missing. And I think it was maybe that, just the ability and the knowledge to know what to do throughout the week to get yourself in correct shape, and mentally and physically to go and perform at your best, and probably day to day. And I feel like this guy is one of the best at, knowing what his body needs to perform on a Saturday.
It's going to be a great training ground. Cristiano Ronaldo walks in. Even you've got Paul Pogba in there. Bruno Fernandes is his teammate. He knows all about him. But for him to walk in for that first day back at training, that must just be incredible. I don't mean the players are sitting there going, we're so lucky. They're Manchester United players. They're elite players. But still, you bring in someone like Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah,
and can you imagine as well, which I'm very happy for, is those young Man United fans who only heard about him when he used to play, and then they see the unbelievable numbers he's gone and he's put up in Real Madrid, and those academy players, he may walk past them at some stage, and that would be the picture that I'd like to see, because he's there in the flesh, and you can see a footballing icon at work. I couldn't tell you, because the only thing I can kind of equate it to was just knowing that Dennis Bergkamp was coming for us and how that changed us. I cannot even get into the realms of thinking what that's going to do for their players, especially someone like Greenwood. He can just watch now, probably be able to talk to him. Cristiano Ronaldo would probably want to impart and tell him what he needs to do, because if we're talking about, and I was speaking to Sir Alex the other day, and he was saying...
Hello.
We was playing golf, and I was speaking to him, and the reason we were speaking, and he again mentioned about Mason Greenwood as being one of the best they've ever had out of their academy. Now you put one of the best players that's ever played for the football club, who's come back as a world icon, to play with him and alongside him. It's frightening what this guy could turn into, what the youngsters around there could turn into. And like Ashley rightly said, the mentality of him rubbing off on people could be the difference for Manchester United.